Thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about the royals. We end with our weekly feature, The Comments of the Week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 125. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So we were off last week. And this week we're recording on Wednesday, and I'm going to put out the podcast on Saturday, but I'm just mentioning that in case we miss any stories from Thursday, because we normally record on Thursdays. But I can't record tomorrow because, knock wood and everything, but I put an offer on a house. It would be my first house, and they accepted it, and the inspection is tomorrow.
I'm really happy for you. I'm shocked that you got it done so quickly. You are super organized. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. We will see if I got it done quickly or not. I was talking to Kat Hecate about it, and she gave me advice, and my dad called me, and he's given me advice, and so it'll be closer to where my son is going to school, but it's still a good enough drive for him that I'm not like, hey, I'm 10 minutes away, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm really glad I got it. I was out hiking Sunday, and as I was driving home, I saw an open house sign, and I stopped, and I was like, oh my God, this is the house. And I'd seen about 7 houses before that, and nothing stuck with me. And I looked at a couple houses to rent, too, in that area. I was like, I could just keep renting. But there was nothing I liked, and this house really is great. So
it's a cute house.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited. All right, so next week also, we can't record, and I'm sorry for the late notice, but my son is graduating from high school, and my family's coming out. So I should have known this. I mean, I knew it, but I just pushed it out of my mind that he's graduating and everything. So
well, and plus the Monday following that is Memorial Day, so we probably would have just skipped the podcast anyway.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll be back June 4th and June 11th.
Yep. And that will be like around the Jubilee.
Okay, the Jubilee.
Well, I've had like less exciting things happening. Well, I mean, like everything has gone haywire in my house because Mercury retrograde and all that shit.
It does not apply to me. It only applies to electronics, not homes.
Yeah. You know, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And knock wood and all that. But yeah, so I've been dealing with all that. But I've also been watching like new stuff. So I'm all caught up on the most recent episodes of Shining Girls.
It's on Apple?
Yeah, it's on Apple. Elizabeth Moss stars, and she executive produced the series. I think she directed 1 or 2 episodes of it. Mm-hmm. And it is really good. All right. Like the caveat is that Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist, and I know that a lot of people will just flat out refuse to watch anything with her in it because of that. But for me personally, I can separate it because I was already doing that with Mad Men, and I was such a big fan of her in Mad Men. And she's great in this.
Okay.
It's set in the 1990s, and it's just great.
Oh, excellent.
It's a kind of a mystery and a crime story and a story about journalism, and it's also a little bit supernatural.
Okay. So it's like a sliding doors thing?
The murderer is a time traveler.
Okay. That's not a spoiler?
No, that's like the whole thing.
Okay.
That's like the whole story. Okay. And it's about figuring out how he's doing it, and she's the only person who's ever survived.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, I want to watch it now.
Yeah, it's good. And there's this really attractive guy who plays like her journalism partner, and the actor's name is Wagner Moura. He's a little bit skeevy, but he's also just really good looking. Yeah, he is.
You're tired.
A little bit skeevy. He's skinny, of course. You know, very damaged. Yeah, he's just great. He's a great actor. I've never seen him in anything, and he's wonderful in this.
Neat.
And Jamie Bell is in it, and he's being so creepy.
Oh, I like him, but maybe not if he's
he's very unsettling. And I've also been watching The Essex Serpent, which is Tom Hiddleston and Claire Danes. Mm-hmm. And I guess I've watched the 2 episodes that are out right now. And the last episode was such a bummer.
What's it on?
It's on Apple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Tom Hiddleston, his hairline is in retreat. And Claire Danes...
come on. It's not a problem. He's still a hot man.
Well, you like him bald. If I like him skeevy, you like him bald.
That is true.
And like at times he feels way too modern. And then like at the very, well, I'm not going to like do a big spoiler, but all of a sudden something happened in the plot that was so retro. And I was like, holy shit, were people still doing that in like 1890s?
Ooh.
So I'm not sure if I'm quite into it, but it's really beautiful.
Oh, so it has pretty settings and costuming and stuff like that?
Yeah, her costumes are gorgeous. I never realized that like people in Victorian times would not just have like fancy silk dresses. They would also have like these Victorian style, like just knits.
Okay.
Like wool sweaters and stuff like that with all these funky shoulders. It's really cool to see that, like Victorian day wear.
Victorian day wear. That reminds me that Downton Abbey movie is this weekend.
That looks so cheesy. And
I don't give a shit. I'm going to watch it.
It's like Downton Abbey. They go to France, you know.
I saw the last movie. I'll watch this one too. I'm not going to lie.
I watched the last movie too. It was pretty... I mean, it was...
Cotton candy movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's how this one's going to be. It's fine. All right, let's talk about the royals. So the Friday after we last recorded, the Sussexes confirmed that they were going to be at the Jubilee with their children. So I just put a little voiceover into the last podcast saying that. Mm-hmm. But we didn't talk about it yet.
We didn't? I thought we did, but all right.
No, I swear we didn't because I edited it, and so I listened to it a couple times more. But I'm sure we didn't.
Yeah, I was surprised that they decided to come in the end. That being said, I was not surprised that they are choosing not to appear on the balcony. I think they've been allowed to come on their terms and say,
yeah,
you know, we're going to do this, but not do that. I do think that they'll probably do something special for Lily while they're there, like maybe a little birthday party or maybe a christening or something like that.
Oh, what if they had a christening? That would be such a big deal.
Well, if they did, it would just be a small family thing, don't you think? In Windsor?
Yeah. And Omid Scobie reported, and this is what we've been hearing too, that he heard from sources that Harry has long said if he goes to the Jubilee, he doesn't want to be on the balcony. And so they reported that they would only have working royals on the balcony, like pretty much right before it was confirmed that the Sussexes would be going.
Right. The timing of the announcements, I felt like, was coordinated, and it was coordinated on purpose, that Harry told the Queen or her people that he was coming, he was bringing his family, and no, they weren't going to be part of the balcony. And then the palace got to release that information however they wanted. And I think the palace chose to release it in a way where they could explain away not inviting Prince Andrew.
Oh, yeah, that's smart because he's not a working royal.
But the thing is that then they end up also refusing to put the York princesses on the balcony. And I think people would have genuinely liked to see Beatrice and Eugenie.
Yeah, especially if they bring their kids.
Yeah, that would have been really nice. But instead, it's like no Yorks whatsoever. Andrew fucked it up for everyone.
Yeah, he did. Ugh, he's such a scumbag.
Yep.
So the last time the Sussexes came through town when they were going to the Invictus Games, the Cambridges were on a ski vacation in France.
Yeah, I always believed that the Cambridges didn't even know that Harry and Meghan were going to come. Like, they were already on vacation when Harry and Meghan stopped by and surprised everyone. No one knew.
Yeah, only Eugenie.
Yeah.
Maybe Beatrice. They talk.
Yep.
And now when it's known that the Sussexes are coming to troop in the colour to the Jubilee, the Cambridges are going to be going to Wales. Like, they're not going to be there the whole time. But they're being sent there or something?
Yeah, the way it made it sound is that for the 4-day Jubilee period, the Cambridges are going to be on the balcony for trooping, which is June 2nd. It just sounds like the Queen is sending away all the working royals so she can spend more time with Harry and Meghan. That's what it sounded like to me. It's like, oh, the Wessexes are being sent away. The Cambridges are being sent away. Princess Anne even is going away. Like, she's going to Scotland or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that is part of the Jubilee process. All the royals have to go to all 4, countries.
So we got some stories that William doesn't want Harry there, which is predictable, and that they're worried the Sussexes are going to pull a stunt to get attention, which all they do is show up and be lovely people, and they're accused of pulling a stunt, you know?
And it's ridiculous because William and Kate are the stunt queens. They're the ones always pulling stunts and trying to get attention.
But just with themselves, they don't ever bring a present or do anything nice for people.
No, they just show up and do their jazz hands and make crazy eyes and
look at each other angrily. Or, William looks at Kate angrily. She acts oblivious.
Well, Kate looks at him with some disgust every now and then. She's like, motherfucker, please stop.
Like when she pulled her hand from him and stuff.
Uh-huh. But yeah, there's also a lot of concern. I think this is more than just William and Kate.
Yeah.
It's like palace nitpickers and assholes. They're like
nitpickers and assholes.
They're clutching their pearls over the idea that Harry and Meghan could bring Netflix cameras into the palace. They're not going to do that. Harry and Meghan know how to behave. They're not going to show up with a film crew and be like, so we're filming all of this, right? Of course not. Who does that? No one would do that.
They won't do that.
Oh, please don't bring Netflix in to film the Jubilee. Who gives a shit? Netflix doesn't care.
They're going to make a reality show like the Kardashians.
Now, that being said, I still believe that Harry and Meghan are making some sort of documentary or docuseries about their work. About the work they've been doing with Archwell or whatever.
Yeah.
It's Archwell, right?
I believe it's Archwell, because it would have an I in it if it's Archewell.
Well, it has the extra E in it.
Yeah, but Arch, that's like the fancy European arch with an E at the end. Archwell.
All right. So I think that they are making a documentary about Archwell and their work there. I would love to watch a documentary about the World Central Kitchen and the work they've been doing with that.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
And we know that they've been mic'd up, for some of their stuff, not just Invictus, but when they went to New York, they were wearing mic packs. So maybe we are getting a documentary or docuseries.
That'd be really cool.
But that doesn't mean that they're going to show up at Frogmore Cottage or Windsor Castle with the Netflix film crew in tow.
It would be awesome if they took some surreptitious iPhone footage and used it.
I know.
What are they going to do, sue them? They're like, fuck you. They got the best lawyers in town. They could deal with anything. I know they're not going to do that, though.
I know. And I said in one of the posts, I was like, if they film anything in Frogmore Cottage, it's going to be on an iPhone. They'll just film Lily or Eugenie and the kids and that kind of stuff.
There's entire movies on iPhones. They could do it.
Yeah.
So the Queen didn't go to the opening of Parliament this year. That was Prince Charles and Prince William went. And William had to walk behind Rose Hanbury's husband because he has a job holding the crown for some reason, some antiquated thing in his family or whatever.
He's the Lord Great Chamberlain.
I didn't write it down because I knew I couldn't pronounce any of it. So I was like, left it out
of our
document.
Marquis of Chumley.
Okay.
That's David Rock Savage. That's his name, David Rock Savage.
It's an awesome name. So William looked all pissed off at that, but that's his resting asshole face. He just looks like that all the time.
Yeah, he looked like a kid who was mad that he was being taken to his dad's work. And he ran into, I don't know, the woman he was banging, he ran into her husband. So...
Yeah. Although they're probably fake nice to each other because they're neighbors and stuff.
Oh, yeah. They're absolutely. I mean, because that's the whole situation with the turnip tops. They all fuck each other's husbands and everyone's supposed to be cool with it.
Yeah.
It was Kate. Kate was the one who broke the rules by trying to phase out Rose for fucking her husband.
Yep. She learned.
Rose fucked around and Kate found out.
Oh, okay. So we got to see the Queen lately, but before that, they kept telling us in different stories that she's in control of her faculties. And then we got told not to expect to see her much at the Jubilee. But she went to the Royal Windsor Horse Show, even though they said she wasn't going to go. And she went 2 days in a row, not 2 days in a row. It was Friday and Sunday last weekend to see those. And then on Tuesday, she was at Paddington Station with Edward opening a new line called the Elizabeth line.
Yeah, so for the Queen, I keep going back and forth about what I think is really wrong. Like, when she canceled her appearance at the opening of Parliament, I was like, oh my God, like, the end is coming soon. Like, this is a really big deal that she didn't bother to show up for this.
Yeah, I mean, she's 96. That's pretty logical.
Yeah, and like the way the palace aides keep talking about her health, I just kept thinking everyone is preparing for her to die very soon. And it's like very morbid and profound. And then like she just shows up at the Royal Windsor Horse Show and Paddington Station, and she looks together. She looks like she is in control of what she's doing and that her legs are bad.
Yeah.
And she maybe does have problems walking, although she was handling herself with the cane very well. I think she is having a good week, and I do think that her mobility issues are touch and go as far as, you know, she has a good week or she has a really bad week and she can't, you know, move around hardly at all.
I mean, when I had chronic illness, I'm better now. I don't even remember that much. But if I had a good couple days and I did stuff, I would get really tired and pay for it for days after. And I would assume when you're elderly, it's like that too. I've heard it is, where you can have some good days and go out and then you're just like wiped.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I also think it's possible that they maybe just figured out what kind of painkillers to give her or what kind of treatment she needs. They've figured that out in the past 8 months. Or maybe she's just legitimately gotten a little bit better.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something really wrong with her, you know, last October, November.
Well, she had COVID.
Yeah, and she had COVID on top of all the other stuff.
Yeah. So there was a really troubling video of the Queen. You know, she was getting shown how to use the little card machine at the subway station. What do they call it in London? The tube or whatever? The underground.
Yeah, it's just a regular, like, automated system where a touch screen to, like, buy a ticket. And she was being shown how to do it by a transit employee who happened to be a young black man. And he had his little, like, transit employee jacket on, and you could see he had on a button down and a tie underneath.
He was all coordinated. You know, he was special for that day, you know?
Yeah, and he was, like, very politely. You could even hear him saying, like, yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am. He was pointing out what she needed to do. And Edward put his hand on this young man and said...
on his arm.
Yeah. And what did Edward say?
He told him to step back.
Yes,
I listened to it a couple times. And in the pictures that you put on the site, I think it happened after because he looks like sad and defeated, the guy who was showing the Queen. Like, imagine that, and you feel like you did your job wrong, and that you're like, oh no, what did I do? Like, that's so demeaning that Edward did that. What an asshole.
And, like, the guy did absolutely nothing wrong. The Queen was the one who stepped closer to him. It wasn't like the kid was hovering around the Queen.
And maybe the Queen couldn't hear. She's fucking 96, you know?
Edward was just, he was so wrong for that. He was wrong to put his hands on the guy. He was wrong to tell him to step back. It was just a shitty situation that was so unnecessary. Edward didn't have to say or do anything.
But that's how they are. That's how the royals are. Like, don't get too close to us.
Putting his colonizer hands on that man. Oh, that really bugged me.
Yeah, he's an asshole. So he wasn't on my radar before, really, except for his pushy wife, but now he is. So Prince William went to the FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium last week, and he was booed by the crowd when he was shaking hands with the team at the opener. And I guess that had something to do, there was a terrible tragedy there in 1989 called the Hillsborough disaster. It wasn't there, but it was Liverpool who was playing in the final.
The 97 deaths, a lot of those people were Liverpool fans.
that was a fatal crush of the crowd that happened. I mean, that's the biggest sports tragedy in English history. It's terrible.
It's terrible. And not for nothing, but like Liverpool in general, those people despise Tories because of Margaret Thatcher and like Thatcher era Tory policies that like basically just destroyed Liverpool for generations.
Yeah, Sarah was telling us about Thatcher milk snatcher and everything because she took the milk away from the kids at school.
So there was also that very heightened political element to booing William, which is that William is a Tory stooge. He has closely aligned himself with Tory politicians, with Tory politics. All of his like political advisors, the high up advisors like Simon Case worked for him and then went to work for Boris Johnson. That's who William surrounds himself with, is all these Tory hatchet men.
Yeah, that tracks with who they've shown themselves to be.
Yeah. So, yeah, William got booed and it was amazing. And then the media the British media, they freaked out. Well, first, they were kind of shady. They all put William booed on their covers.
Yeah.
And then it became, how dare people boo Prince William? And they tried to make it into like this free speech thing. Like, these people shouldn't have free speech. If you're going to boo the prince, then you shouldn't be allowed to boo.
Right. And then the manager for the Liverpool team said the fans, quote, wouldn't do it if there was no reason.
And he's not even from Liverpool. He's like a German guy that they brought in to manage this team.
Well, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, and after all that, Liverpool won the FA final.
Oh, cool. Good for them.
Yeah.
So Charles and Camilla are on that whirlwind tour of Canada, and I don't know how much interest there is in them. They're flying everywhere, and most of their time is spent in the air.
Yeah, and that's funny in and of itself, but I think that's the whole reason why they're in and out so quickly. They don't want any protests. They don't want to make a big fuss. They don't want to make it into a big Keen Jubilee tour. They're just
Keen Jubilee.
They're just running around, being as respectful as possible and getting the fuck out. You know?
Yeah.
Charles does not want a bad headline whatsoever. And if that means there are no headlines, that's fine with him.
Yeah, that seems to be his general press strategy anyway, is just be boring.
Well, he would love good
personality.
press. He would love good press, but if the choice is between bad press and no press, he'll choose no press.
Okay. So there was a report today that MSN covered, but it was based on a translated European tabloid story. That story was that Kate and William are separated, but they might have been cribbing from us for all we know. Seriously.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, from your reports, I'm not even joking, but it was based on known details about their living situation that have been covered in the Daily Mail and the Mirror, and it was pulled from MSN. It's no longer at the source link at MSN.
Although MSN did leave up their tweet.
They did. I saw that.
They got so many comments for it.
I mean, it rings true, but it's probably not like a fresh story or anything.
Yeah, I don't think that all of a sudden Will and Kate separated and some random European tabloid got the breaking news. Yeah. I don't think it's like that at all. But that being said, the Daily Mail and the British newspapers and tabloids, they've been slowly and quietly building a case.
Yeah.
They've been softening the public for if and when it does happen.
Yeah, because they're moving to different places. They have the screaming stuff that they yell at each other. That was in the Daily Mail.
Yeah, and it's going to be in Robert Jobson's book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was excerpted in the Daily Mail.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's what it was from. But yeah, they don't sound happy or act happy. Yeah. And if you look at the pictures of them, they don't, yeah.
I mean, in general, I do believe that William is going to stay up until the very point where he doesn't want to stay. It's not about Kate whatsoever. It's not about what Kate wants. It's just what William wants. If he wants out of the marriage, he's going to get out of the marriage. Right now, all of this is set up for his convenience. He likes the fact that he has a quote-unquote successful marriage. Yeah, he does. He likes that he has the image of a family man, and that his marriage works better than his father's marriage, or his father's first marriage.
Because they stayed together? I mean, that's not working better. That's being miserable, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, let's move on to the comments of the week. Hi, I'm recording this later. We recorded this on Wednesday before it was known that Elon Musk assaulted and paid off a flight attendant who worked for him. Now back to my talk with Chandra. So this week we picked the same story because I was trying to work really quick and I didn't wait to see what story you picked, but we both picked comments from the same story.
Well, and it's a story that, like, we should talk about a little bit because it's just funny.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk, he made, like, this big deal about how he was making a bid for Twitter, and he offered them $44 billion to become the major stockholder of Twitter, and everyone was like, oh, we're leaving Twitter. Elon Musk is going to ruin everything, and all of the...
He would have ruined Twitter.
Yeah, all the Trump trolls were like, oh, yay, and all the Nazis were like, hooray, so we're going to come back, and he's going to unban Trump, and all this stuff. And then, of course, it all fell apart.
Because the stock for Tesla tanked. And he didn't have the capital anymore. Your story was about him making excuses that he needed to investigate the bots or whatever.
Yeah, he's just making excuses for why the deal can't go through.
He's such a dumbass. So Love Gossip wrote, he just figured out that MAGA doesn't buy Teslas. But yeah, no, so Tesla was my dream car. Even though I've heard like that it's hard to drive and stuff, I was like, oh, I really want a Tesla. And then I heard how they treat people who work there. And I'm like, no, I'm never owning one in my entire life.
I mean, the company, they treat their employees like shit.
They're terrible. They're racist. They're like really, really a terrible company.
And plus, I feel like I keep hearing that Teslas are really poorly made. There are all these recalls and I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, they seem really cool, but there's better electric cars coming out. You know?
Yeah, there are. And my comment was from the same story, obviously. And commenter Valerie said, aw, Space Karen is saying stuff. It's cute, right?
Space Karen. That's good.
He is Space Karen.
He's so dumb. I was watching his interviews at the Met Gala where Lala Anthony, like, she's not that good. I kind of hope they don't hire her again for that, which they won't because they should have hired Keke Palmer again.
Keke was so good.
She was so good. Oh, I can't wait for Nope. That's going to be excellent. So she was asking him about Twitter and he had like a canned response like, oh, I want to make it more popular and get more people on there so everybody has a voice or whatever. It just sounded like total bullshit. And she's like, oh, that's so nice. You know, please. No.
Well, why was he even invited to the Met Gala?
His mom is glamazon. You know, like he brought his mom. That gives him some cred. It does.
Did you see that photo of Christine Baranski when she caught sight of him at the Met Gala?
No, was she give him side eye?
She just looked at him full on like she was ready to straight up kill him.
Oh, I love that. I didn't see that.
Her fists were balled up and she just had a look of thunder on her face. I think one of the Vogue photographers was like on the red carpet. He shot that photo. And they gave her a framed copy of it, and she loved it.
Why didn't you report that? That's such a good human interest story. It is.
Because we don't have the photo.
Oh,
we didn't actually have the photo.
I'm sorry. So. That shit's expensive. But yeah, send me a link to it, and I'll link it in the post.
Okay.
And I didn't mean to question your judgment on that, but I love that story. It's a good story.
It was all on Twitter. That's how I saw it.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can post those kind of photos on Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.